Welcome back to Views and Vibes. We are talking about the pitfalls in relationships, and coming back from the break, I want to talk more about when people actually hold on too long in a relationship. Because I've had a friend who, kind of opposite of the situation you're talking about before, where he needed to let go. The relationship wasn't good. He wasn't really into the person, but because she kept on having issues, somebody would die or something tragic would happen in her life, he would stick around just to be there for her. And so it's like it just continued. It's always something. So every time he was ready to step away, something would happen and he would not leave. So when is it time for you to step away? And how can you recognize when it's time for you to actually step out of a bad relationship?
Well, I guess, can you determine what's an unhealthy, dysfunctional relationship? Because first, if you can't see it, you don't know you're in it. I mean, you might look and see that I'm
From
in
the outside,
one.
right.
But I think so. You have to have a perspective on what is a healthy relationship. What does it look like?
Right.
Because if you know what it looks like and those signs and characteristics start to show up, you can start gearing up. It's still not going to be easy, but you can start gearing up yourself to be prepared to leave. But I think, a part of the problem is people don't see it as healthy or dysfunctional. They feel like, well, like in that particular scenario you gave, well, I got to be there for her, and I got to help her out, and it's almost like they feel like they're obligated to help them out, but not to the extent it's damaging to them or their ability to move on. So I think people have to be clear on what unhealthy is.
So what does it take to actually see that? What does it take for an individual to see that they are in an unhealthy relationship?
Well, I think one of the things is that whether in a relationship or not, you always have to do a self-analysis all the time of yourself and look, where am I with my life?
Right.
Am I happy? And am I getting the things done that I'm, striving to get done? And if I'm not, why not? Now, when you get into the relationship, and like you said with the example of your friend, is it pulling him down so much that he has no life anymore? Because this person, every time you turn, she's got some type of, atrocity going on, and I've seen people like that.
Right.
And it's like, dang, every time you turn a corner, they got something else happening. And then you kind of be like, well, are they a magnet for these disasters,
Right.
And am I just, being tagged along just to keep them going?
Right.
But if it's pulling you down so much that you can't get your life going anymore, and then you have to start looking at it. And like I said, whether in a relationship or not, that's the case with anything, even with friends. But in a relationship, though, like I said, it's a tough line, because it's like, okay, I want to be there for you.
Right.
But at the same time, if you pull me down so deep, it's like we're both going to be in the abyss.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
my aunt says I can do bad all by myself.
right. So
and so when you are, like you said, self-assessment, what do you have to do the self-assessment? What are you looking for?
I'm looking for, how does this relationship leave me feeling? When I walk away from this person, how do I feel? When I'm around them, how do I feel? When I pick up the phone to talk to my friends, am I venting about how unhappy I am in this relationship? The warning signs are there. But it's just human nature for us to not want to feel like failures. I've invested so much time and energy, maybe money or whatever, in this person, in this relationship, and I just want to believe that there's potential for it to turn around and get better. So people hold on to that thinking it's going to change.
What about those people who actually look at someone and say, you know what, I think we can have a great relationship. I see great potential in them. They're going to school, and they're working on a business, and so they're not there yet, but I can see where they're going. So I want to help them. I want to, it's almost like they're a project. I want to help them. I want to be there for them. Go ahead.
Oh, you know what? You just struck a chord with me. This is so important because I think you may have said it earlier about, women are doing well. They do have good jobs, and sometimes you may meet a guy and he's
on the come up.
He's on the come up. He's on the come up. Here's the key thing: invest in his potential, be a support for his dreams. If he has follow through, if you see that his dreams are aligned with action, support him, invest in him. But if you see that he has a dream and he's playing Xbox all day, he's not really about anything, and you're going to invest a lot of time that's going to have no return on that investment. If you invest in a person, you're going to get a quality relationship. Y'all tend to marry up sometimes when you get there, but I think along the way, I think if you invest in his potential, you can be a support to him because you see that follow through in action.
But what about those people who you don't see it? you know, and then but you hold on. I mean, there are people who are going to hold on to something for so long because they see the potential. They're almost there, and they see them.
That's their project.
They may exactly as a project, and they're almost there. I see it in them. They've been working on it. They just haven't hit it yet, and then they fall back into playing Xbox all day long. You know?
Right.
So how do you get those people to see? Look, there may be time to step away from them because the potential you're looking for is just potential.
Right.
It's not a reality.
Right. Well, it's kind of like, she was saying, Nicole was saying, it's kind of like there's that, that potential, and you see them pursuing it, and maybe they just haven't gotten there. But I think at some point, it's kind of like there has to be some fruit of all that effort, right? You have to see some small progress or some small steps toward progress. But I think if there's no follow through and there's no action, and you don't see any outcome or results from it, I think that person has become your project, and you're invested in him with very little return. And I think you have to say, how do I feel as a result of the time I spend with them? If I feel like they are draining me and I am not getting my needs met, and I'm always complaining about they always need a favor, they always need a ride, how am I feeling as a result of me investing in him? Do I still feel good like I'm helping him, or do I feel like I'm carrying him? If you examine that feeling, you'll know whether you're helping him and you're helping him toward his dream, or he is just draining you of everything you've got.
Well, what about
sometimes you're hampering his dream, his or her dream.
Right.
You're their crutch, and it takes for you to step away, walk away from them, for them to motivate themselves to do what they need to do.
What about people's ability to change? People are always saying, I want to work on this. I mean, do people generally have that ability to change within a relationship, or do they need, like you just said, sometimes to be let go of so that they can grow a little bit more? Or do you stick around and wait for that change to happen?
I think people.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think people are capable of changing when they want to change.
Right.
As long as you're in a relationship and you're pushing them to change, you're definitely not going to get that. It's like being a kid.
Yeah.
Right.
That thing that your parents wanted you to do, you were so defiant
because
you were just not going to do it. But as soon as you said, I don't care, I don't want you to do that anymore, what happened?
You blossom. You blossom. But what about those people who stick around? I mean, what do you tell somebody who continuously sticks around? Do you tell them, look, you're just not seeing this open? Look, we have to go to break. We'll continue this when we come back. More Views and Vibes after this.